And Mike, what do you see from the Tennessee defense?
They have a great defense, but a lot of holes. So it's gonna be a lot of holes in their defense. So it's gonna be a fun game.
All right, y'all. Welcome back. Game day Saturday. Man, this is a big one. We talked about a preseason. Mississippi State, Arkansas, just kind of felt like those could not really be trap games, but games that you just got to watch out for because it seems like they always play us very, very well. But I'm starting to feel a lot more optimistic with Tennessee's chances, P. What's kind of like your opening thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, that's how it always goes throughout game week. You kind of start off, you're looking at all the concerns, playing that scare you, but by freaking game day, you're ready to go, and it's Vols by 50. You know what I'm saying? Like I think we match up well with these guys. I think I look at what we have up front, our offensive line with David Sanders coming back. I mean, I think that's where it starts for us. I think we'll be in a good spot. I think to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, particularly on offense. And we can be able to run it. We can pass it. I think Joey's playing phenomenal right now. So I feel really good about our offense. Then if our defense can contain Taylor Green, if we can prevent him from escaping the pocket and, having those back-breaking third down conversions or, manufacturing rushing yards by scrambling, if we can avoid letting him beat us with that, I think we'll be fine, man. He's gonna have to have a Nico Iamaleava type day versus Penn State. He has to have that type of day. I think gonna have a chance. If we can prevent that, I feel pretty good about our chances.
Yeah, and it looks like everybody in the chat who voted right now is 100% for Tennessee. So people are feeling pretty confident. We'll see how that changes. I'm gonna try to check on it. I always say that, but we end up getting sidetracked and I don't ever come back to it. But y'all, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because that obviously keeps us going, right? So let me get to some of these chats real quick, and then we're gonna go ahead and dive into some of the things that we have lined up for y'all. So the first one. If I can get this thing up. All right, boom. So from Carlos, he's saying he's putting the pig ribs on in about an hour. Go Rocky Top. Love to see that, bro.
Yes, sir.
That sounds good too. This one from Big Dogs Got to Eat, saying morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Morning.
And this one from Rod, saying that there is a lot of holes. Question mark. Crowd and players need to get up and take care of business and see if they can find these holes he's talking about. Those are all facts. Hopefully, I'm sure that the players heard that. I'm sure that they're fired up about it. And maybe the defense is gonna have something to say to Mike Washington Jr., who we will be talking about here shortly. But let me get to this one too from Matt SS saying "Go Vols, baby." Thank you as always for joining us, Matt. He's always keeping up with us and all that good stuff. All right, so let's jump into the first part of it, and that's the injuries. So this came out last night. Obviously, they're gonna have another one that comes out a little bit later on. Biggest news for Tennessee is where I'm not going to say fully healthy, but this is as healthy as we've been on both of our fronts. Offensive line, defensive line. Offensive line has looked good. Has looked really good. To me, it's one of the best offensive lines in the whole country. Defensive lines, the defensive line is, I think, tied in first place with sacks so far this year. That's going to take a step forward. So we will be talking about that. And also, man, we got Travis Smith, who's questionable. We'll see where he's at. That's a really big deal because while Tennessee typically only plays like 3 wide receivers, Ra-Ra's out, Travis Smith, if he's also out, we're talking about maybe Dotson getting in, but he's more like of a slot. Who's going to be the outside guys, right? We don't have the depth. Football is a game that you need to have depth. It's not just about who you're starting out there because anything can happen on any given play. And then they have a guy that's listed as questionable number 15. He's a cornerback. So he's like, I was looking at his snaps. It's like 4th or 5th most snaps. So, I mean, he's kind of like down on their depth chart. But as I just said, it's always critical to have that depth heading into SEC play, so on and so forth. Pete, anything here that kind of stands out to you?
Well, first I'll say, that's really what I think the difference between these two teams are. I mean, really a difference between, all the elite teams and then kind of that next level of teams. Like everyone's top 22, right, is going to be pretty similar, right? But once you start getting to your 3rd, 4th string guys, I mean, listen, we're missing our top 2 starting corners. Oh, and then all of a sudden now we have a true freshman who comes in here and it's probably going to be a freshman All-American. And then we have the other guy who's probably worked himself into a first-round draft pick. Those guys were on the bench coming into the season. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I talk about when I say depth. We're missing our 5-star offensive tackle, David Sanders. Oh, and by the way, the O-line is still probably one of the best in the country. And then he comes back, and now, so like I think having that depth, like you talk about, that's the difference. And so they have a long injury list there. Can they sustain that? What type of receiver depth do they have? What type of DB depth do they have? Because for our guys, we've seen guys come in and play, and I think you look at Travis Smith being out, who's that outside receiver. I mean, I think a guy like Trey Weary, which he's not necessarily that type of body, but I mean, he's a guy I feel comfortable with him. We got some other kind of walk-on guys that I would feel like can at least get us out of this game. Maybe not long-term options, but I think we have some competitive depth in that receiver room of guys. Maybe we don't necessarily know their names. I think it's a pretty good room. So overall, man, this injury list is looking better each week, and I think we'll be fine in this one.
Yeah, hopefully so. And this one right here from Big Dogs Gotta Eat. And let me see if I can get this thing up for y'all. Give me just a second. I clicked on the wrong thing. Here we go. From Big Dogs Gotta Eat is now a member of the channel. Thank you so much for that. And
Nice.
y'all can also be members by clicking on the join button just below this video. But P, I think those are excellent points because Weary, obviously his father played here, and he's looked good. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it might be a situation where maybe Tennessee is going to be kind of maybe like a little bit cautious with the types of routes that these guys are running. Maybe not as much over the middle. Of course, you still got to run your regular game plan. But I'm thinking that Tennessee might want to lean more on that running game just a little bit more. So let's go on to the next part, okay? These are my personal, okay? This is just the way that I see it. Some issues maybe for Tennessee versus Arkansas. So number one, Arkansas has a very talented roster. We're going to take a look at that, especially with their is it with their defense? One of the sides of the football is pretty close in talent. I'm pretty sure that it's their defense that's close to Tennessee, but on both sides, very, very talented. And then they're a veteran-led team. So they have the number 8th, most veteran roster in the whole SEC. Tennessee's dead last. So we have the youngest roster, okay? So, I mean, it's not a huge difference, but all the guys that they have starting, I mean, pretty much all those players are redshirt seniors or graduates or, so on and so forth. So they do have that veteran-led depth. And then they have a very dangerous quarterback. We all know about Taylor Green. And they have a great offensive scheme. The scheme on defense is going to change. We don't know how that's going to look. So, I mean, that could throw some wrinkles into things as well. Coach Halsey talked about it. What's it going to look like? We have to be ready for certain, for a multitude of different things. And then, this is pretty much like a showing for them, whether it's players who want to go to the transfer portal, right? They want to put on a good show, whether it's players who want to go into the NFL, obviously always want to do that. And then for these coaches, they don't know, is Arkansas going to hold on to them or some of these guys are going to have to go somewhere else? So everyone, I think, wants to play at their best. So you always have to watch out for that. And then, too, man, P, they beat us 4 straight times, which is crazy. Like, I had to go look that up. They beat us the last 4 times that we played them. For some reason, Tennessee just struggles versus Arkansas. Like, you could go back to 1998. That was obviously that team won the national championship. But in that game, it was like a miracle that Tennessee won. So hopefully things will end up looking well for us. P, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, 4 straight losses. I had no idea that was that many freaking losses. I mean, all I think about is the, I think we played them in 99 maybe and lost, and then obviously the one when they had that freaking punt return. It's on every highlight reel of Arkansas that you ever find when he freaking ran through the entire team. I mean, I'll never forget that. My gosh, I mean, that's awful. Yeah, we got to correct that, man. I don't know if it's that pig suey, some type of voodoo or something they got on us, but we gotta break that freaking streak today, man. It's going to end in Neyland tonight. Yep.
So let's go on to what I think Arkansas needs to be, worried with. Number one, Tennessee is more talented, okay? It's a younger team, but we got some studs. And at number 2, like we talked about, our offensive and defensive lines, who's already been looking good so far this year, they're back pretty much fully healthy, right? A couple of bumps and bruises, but we're going to have everybody out there for it. And also, I want to point this out. It sounds like Jackson Moore is going to be starting at defensive tackle. So him next to Bryson Eason means that Don Bailey goes back to the outside. That's been one of our issues, is setting a good, strong edge. Having him out there might help out. All right. Also, Tennessee's offense is the number 1 scoring offense in the whole damn country. I think that's obviously with a terrible defense. It's been bad from a stat standpoint. They should be worried about that. And then, Tennessee's pass rush is dangerous even more so, like we said, because we got all of our defensive tackles coming back. Most of the pressures come off of the edge. And now that we have, 3 of our guys back, our best 3 that we talked about for the whole offseason, all the stunts and stuff, all the pressure, those are pass rushing defensive tackles who can also stop the run. But man, I just think that the pressure is going to be coming from everywhere, which we'll also talk about how that impacts Taylor Green and their offense. And then next, our defense is the #2 scoring defense in the entire country, which is huge. And hopefully we can keep up with that theme. And then number 6, they beat us. We just talked about it. They beat us for the past 4 seasons. Really, last year, man, we go down there with the #4 team in the country. All right, they're not even ranked, and they, beat us. They could have spoiled the whole season. With the game coming back to Neyland, which is my final thing, I feel like the crowd's going to be rowdy. Hopefully, it's going to be super loud. And of course, our players want that get back. So for all those reasons, I think that if you're a Tennessee fan, you should feel pretty confident with this matchup. But Pete, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah. Man, I want to see freaking Bryson Easton step up today. I mean, he's, you watch the film, you see him do some good things. He hasn't shown up a ton on the stat sheet. I want to see him freaking make a sack, get some TFLs today, really be disruptive on the interior of that D-line. Everyone's talking about Moy and Hobbs being back into the rotation. But I want to see Bryson Easton. He come into this season, he was probably the one guy on that defensive line, especially the interior, that you thought 100% like, hey, I know this guy's a dude. I want to see him show up and be a dude today and get back to how he was playing last year and really impact the game, making plays in the backfield.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I put him up on the thumbnail. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that this is a game that, he needs to show up, and I feel like he will show up in because now he's got his brothers back. And that's not taking anything away from those young guys who have played and I think played pretty well. They've gotten better and better every single week. But now we got that depth. The guys can be fresher all the way through 4 quarters. I expect a pretty mean pass rush coming up here in a few short hours. So let me tap back in with this chat, Pete. We're going to tap back in with everybody and see how people are feeling, see what people's thoughts are. So Big Dog's got to eat, saying he's still nervous, and he thinks that Taylor Green is a great player. Sounds like we're getting back some players on the defensive line and starters, which should help a lot, 1,000%. And Ben Sherman, who's also a member on this channel, thank you so much, Ben, saying let's go Big Orange. Love the energy. And Gilead, he thinks that Tennessee wins this one 55-23. Love that for sure. And this is a question to you, Pete. It's asking, did you notice how Hypo sneaks the freshman in over the course of the game? And it looks like there's another part to that. Well, I'll see if I can find it. But I guess just answer that first part, Pete.
So, yeah. So I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've seen it a ton on offense. Well, yeah, I mean, we see Travis Smith out there when Rawa was healthy. We saw him out there, but I saw Sidney Walton last week. I mean, he was in. We were losing. We were losing like 10-7 or something, 10-3, whatever it was. He's in the game. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I did notice that, and I think that's how you got to do it. Like when I was a freshman at Vandy, or redshirt freshman at Vandy, that's kind of how we did. We had 2 starters, both played in the NFL for a little bit. That started above me in the other freshman corner. But we would get probably like every 3rd or 4th series, we would go in and we'd play the whole series. Didn't matter what the score was or none of that. We would go in, or if a guy got tired, we would go in. That's how you build depth and get guys used to the speed of the game without putting them out there for 70, 80 snaps and having to really just try to hold up. So yeah, I definitely noticed that, and that's a great job by Hypo getting those guys in.
Yeah, it's something that we've been asking for as Tennessee fans for years. You know what I'm saying? Like, when are we going to start playing these younger players? And now we're finally doing it, which is part of the reason that this roster is so young, because we said, hey, we've been dealing with a whole lot of veterans, 4th-year seniors, 5th-year seniors, guys keep on coming back. And we said, we got some young players that we're ready just to let them, loose, let them rock and roll. So I am very much looking forward to seeing the young guys maybe playing more and just getting more burn as well. This one is going to be from Cal. And Cal is asking what happened to Ra. I think he's got like a shoulder deal. Sounds like he might be back. I want to say that I want to say that one of the insiders spoke on Oklahoma. Maybe he might be back for that game. But, obviously – don't have a whole lot of depth at wide receiver. Didn't have it really coming into the season. So got to stay healthy there. Got to try to stay healthy at safety too. But let's go on ahead and talk about Tennessee's offense versus Arkansas's defense. So this is how the matchup looks on paper. Y'all can see they have 14 blue chip players to our 20. Pretty close. They are talented, okay, and they can run multiple fronts. So we talked about probably a whole lot of 3-3-5. I think that their personnel would probably be better suited for that, but they could also just go to a straight up true 4-man front. But even if it's a like 3-man front, or even if it's a 3-3-5, it might still be like an even front. I've noticed that with Chris Wilson previously, what he's done is it's a lot of four people up on the line of scrimmage, or it's 5. Every now and then I've seen like a 3-3 stack, which is that odd front. But, there are some points that we'll make here in just a second that I think could counter that. I also think that they'll probably try to blitz a lot. I think that they'll play a lot of man-to-man coverage. So let's move on to the next part. This is the stats. So you can see how our offense looks. Obviously, we're winning in every single category except for the turnovers. Got to be careful with that. Got to be clean. P, and of course, you can always stop me, man, if you got any thoughts.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. I mean, I feel confident about teams trying to blitz us. I mean, I know Peyton Lewis had that issue a couple weeks ago where he missed a guy, but I mean, I feel pretty good. I think the backs have done a pretty good job, and the O-line's done a phenomenal job passing things off, picking things up. So, I mean, to me, with Joey and the way he's operating, I kind of welcome the blitz because he's making good decisions. He's getting the ball out to his hot route, and the O-line's picking it up. And like we talked about, was that yesterday? We talked about it. If teams blitz and it gets picked up, that's actually a negative play now for the defense because now you got guys out of position and you got time to throw. So hey, if they want to blitz, bring it on. I think we'll put up a lot of points if they want to play that way.
Yeah, for sure. I think so too. All right, so now this is Arkansas's too deep on their defense, right? So you can just see the sizes, especially with the guys in red. That's the defensive line. The white, that's the linebackers, and then the blue is their secondary players. But it's pretty much prototype size everywhere. But they got some huge dudes up front, like number 95, man. He's 387 pounds. He's a big guy. I mean, he's a little, he's kind of soft. I think that we can move him, but it does take that extra strain to be able to lean on a guy, for over the course of 60 minutes because he plays a lot, right? And then they've got this other guy, number 88. He comes in sometimes. He's pretty decent, but that's just how that looks. And then this is their key players, just to show y'all who their guys are on defense. Like I said, there's a lot of players that I could have put up here. People do different things in different moments, so on and so forth. But this is about how that looks. So with all that being said, let's go on ahead, P, and jump into these clips. And let's start off with what I see Tennessee doing with our running game. I want to see a lot of outside zone. Like we talked about, it could be odd fronts, which is when you want to run that outside zone verse, like where you're really going to the outside. Or if it's an even front, it could be over, it could be under. So the outside runs might work well, but sometimes you need to be able to have that cutback lane. So I'm hoping that Tennessee started to work on some of that. Also, if they are playing a whole bunch of man-to-man coverage, Tennessee has man coverage beaters where, we send people in motion, try to, get some sort of a mismatch, right? Pick them off some, and then, we can just spot up and, have people open pretty much everywhere. Drag, so like those, any type of horizontal route. But this is something that Tennessee wasn't doing a whole lot of last year, but it works very well versus man. Also outs, man, like this is something else. Tennessee didn't run a whole lot of this since Coach Heupel's been here, but running the outs, and that's an excellent route. But look at this. Everyone's open. This is we've seen this a lot, with this offense where there's just several people open, so you can pick and choose. But then we can also, if you want to come play press, we can run these types of posts or just vertical routes where with guys like Chris Brazzell at 6'5", 440, super long arms, he's going to outjump everybody. There's not a secondary player, I don't think, in this country that can jump with him. It's a freaking nightmare. Now, one of the guys that I wanted to try to target, just as far as the man-to-man coverage, is number 13. And, I think his name is Connie Walker. I think that he played at Oklahoma previously, so I think that we've seen him. But he just doesn't look great with his coverage, especially like man-to-man stuff. But he's given up 3 touchdowns, 9 first downs, which is more than any other secondary player on their team. But he's also made some plays, too. So some of like the double moves and all that, like his off coverage isn't great. I don't think he's overly physical, So those are the types of things that I would be looking for, but he's the guy that I would try to target. I think that the rest of their secondary P is pretty strong, but, it's not outstanding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I think you just freaking attack these guys. Like I said, I'm not worried about what these guys are doing, defensively. You know what I'm saying? Like, their personnel, it's decent, but I mean, I see a lot of holes.
Yeah, and with these quarterback runs, P.
Oh yeah. Hey, listen, design QB runs. It seems to give these guys a hard time, right? I mean, I don't know what it is about maybe these linebackers getting out of position, whatever it is, but you can see teams are having success. Memphis was killing these guys with QB runs, QB scrambles, escaping the pocket. I think they're a little bit undisciplined, right? They'll lose contain, they'll get out of the rush lanes. I think this is a good game to use Joey Aguilar's legs, let him get loose in the run game, use his legs. This might be a game where he freaking rushes for 50, 60 yards. I mean, I could definitely see him doing something like that. Like I said, when the plays break down, these guys, they just don't have really good QB contain integrity. They'll let these guys move the ball on them. We saw Ole Miss do it to them. We saw Memphis do it to them. I mean, there's a lot of holes that we can exploit. You run guys off, you can get a lot of cheap, easy yards on these guys. They have an aggressive front. They get after you, but at the same time, like I said, they're getting out of those rush lanes. So I think I would definitely expect Heupel to maybe dial up some QB runs, or even just for Joey, just hey, play breaks down, go ahead and take off. Especially when they blitz and they kind of get out of there. They're vacating the middle of the field. I mean, it's going to be a lot of free, easy yards there. We'll see if Joey can take advantage of it today.
Yeah, that was something that we talked about, I think, in the Wednesday chat. And I want to say that it was Tim. He had brought it up, and he was like, man, Memphis ran all over them. A lot of Memphis's runs was from their, it was either from their quarterback or it was because they were running like that read option stuff. So they're not very disciplined. Some of the same issues that we've seen with Tennessee's defense, where it's not a very strong edge, seeing the same stuff with Arkansas's defense. But this is a situation, y'all, where I personally feel like we're going to be able to put up points. Again, we don't know exactly what their scheme's going to look like, how many different things are, can they do that we haven't really game planned for. I think that defense, P, it is one of those spots that it doesn't always take a whole lot, just as far as some tweaks and really effort, because most defense is it's mostly just about effort. And, we talked about they haven't shown a whole lot of effort in some of these previous games. But if they're playing with that high level of effort, if it's simplified where, man, look, y'all are good in man coverage, just go cover that guy, right? It could look maybe better than it has previously. I just think that that's possible. But I just think that with defense, doesn't take a whole lot. I feel like with the bye week, pretty much 2 weeks to get ready, you can come up with a pretty decent game plan. You probably won't see a change, or we're not going to know that. We're not going to notice that anyway. But like a change with the phrases that they're using and like the terminology. But some of that stuff's going to be the same. But they could call the plays in different times. Some of their tendencies might not be quite what it was with Coach T. Will. So I don't know, P. I mean, are you feeling like this offense is going to be able to get off on that defense or what?
I mean, I think it's an interesting point. I think maybe Hubs made it earlier in the week. Like, we know Heupel's really, really great about that opening script. And I think he has, I don't know how long his script is, but his script, I think, lasts maybe a couple drives. Like, he has probably, I don't know, like 20, 30 plays scripted already. Like, he does an excellent job of that. How is he going to script this game? Not necessarily knowing how they're going to play him and all that. But to your point, we've got multiple guys open pretty much every play. You know what I'm saying? So maybe you can call out the same stuff, and Joey's doing a good job of reading the field. So maybe you call the same play, but they're in a little bit different defense than you thought. So maybe now this first read we thought was going to be open isn't open, but now you got this guy open. So, and I think Joey can make those reads. I still feel good about the offense. Joey just needs to continue to continue to be Mr. Consistent, steady Eddie, and O-line, do what you do. Run game, I think, is going to take a big step forward today as well. I feel very confident in offense. That's probably the least of my concerns today.
Yeah. And so this one right here from Billy saying that Connie is injured. So that's something that I missed.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, that's a pretty, now that injury to that other cornerback, that means even more, because if Connie can't play, then that's going to be tough. I think that 23 Neal, he's pretty solid. He does some good things. He's very physical, but it's nothing that we're not used to. I think that we'll be fine from that standpoint. So yeah, that makes you feel maybe even better about the matchup with the offense. I think we should be able to throw the football down the field, but I want to make sure that I keep on saying we need to stick to the run. I think that one of the best things we could do in this game is just try to keep their offense off the field by holding on to the football. We will go tempo, but I just think that it needs to be like mindful, right? Like there needs to be a time and a place for it. Don't just always go in tempo, because we need to let our defense rest. Even though we're getting back healthy, I think that we should be able to let them rest more.
And that's a good point you made too about the run game, because that's something I know a lot of people have been down on the run game. Listen, I don't think our run game's been bad. No. There hasn't been a single time this year where I felt like we couldn't run the ball. So yeah, to your point, I mean, if Heupel wants to, maybe that's what's game plan coming out. Let's just freaking run the ball, 7 plays in a freaking row. And I don't think they're going to be able to stop it. I haven't seen anybody really stop us consistently in the run game all year. So yeah, look for the run game to have a big day today.
Yeah, so I'm going to tap back in with the poll, because I see that there's some Arkansas fans checking in. But right now it's 94% Tennessee, and then it's 6% for Arkansas. So, I mean, listen, that's about where I thought that it was going to be. Tennessee fans feel confident. I'm sure that the Arkansas fans, some of them probably feel kind of confident. But just like heading up to the game last season, I know listening to their podcast and all that, they didn't seem very confident. They were like, man, like we're about to get killed. Really, none of that stuff's going to matter. But yeah, we're pointing out a lot of positives with our offense, I think, versus their defense. Now, let's move on to the other side of the football. This is where things really, I think, start to get interesting at. If this one turns into a shootout, I think that it's possible. But here you can see how Tennessee's roster stacks up from a talent standpoint versus Arkansas. So we have 27 blue chip caliber players. Okay, we should have pretty much every single one of them ready to play for us today. Obviously, I think that Mod might be one of those guys. Ricky Gibson's also one, so they won't be playing for us. But outside of that, man, what we got? What is that, Pete? 25 guys.
Wow.
Arkansas has 12 on offense, but they have a great scheme, and I think that they run it very well. Anything that kind of stands out to you here, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of surprised that their blue chip number's so low, but I mean, you guys know we don't really get too caught up in that because heck, some of our guys, I mean, I can't think about anybody right now, but I mean, we got some 3-star guys that are absolute studs for us. You know what I'm saying? So, we don't get too caught up in that, but that is pretty alarming. I didn't realize it was that big of a difference just on paper. Their offense to our defense.
Yeah, so these are the numbers, y'all. We pulled this from 24/7 Sports, and with 24/7 Sports, they only count, I think, like your high school rating. So some of these guys, like Taylor Green, he was a 3-star coming out of high school, but I think in the transfer report he was a 4-star. So it is a little bit misleading from that standpoint. It's probably a lot closer than what those numbers show. But let's talk about these stats. So obviously with Arkansas, their strength of schedule is ranked number 5 with ESPN. They played Ole Miss, they played Notre Dame, and I don't know what Memphis is ranked. Maybe they're ranked, maybe they're not, but to me that's not really. So they've played up against 2 good teams. So that's why it looks as strong as it does, but their numbers are really, really good. So they're winning in every single category except for turnovers and also sacks. So Tennessee, like we talked about, tied in first place with sacks. And then also we're doing a great job of not just getting turnovers, but scoring with those turnovers, Pete. But anything standing out to you here?
I mean, the numbers don't look great for us in this, but I mean, heck, we knew coming into it, this is an explosive offense. They have a lot of pieces, a lot of personnel issues with how big some of their guys are and stuff like that. But I mean, for me, man, I'm still even kind of surprised just after watching the film, surprised that their numbers are this good. I don't think Taylor Green has played phenomenal this year. I mean, I haven't looked at the stats. You know me, I'm not a big stat guy. Hey, let me look at the film guy. The film on Taylor Green for me, people talk about him being an NFL guy. I mean, hey, I hope so. But just what I'm seeing on film, I don't think he's seeing the field as well as he needs to be able to play at that level. I think he has some issues today. We got to confuse him a little bit. Don't give him easy reads. Don't let him have his first guy be there. If we can disrupt him, which we're going to get into the film here in a little bit, if we can disrupt his timing and his flow and his rhythm, he's a different guy. So, we'll see how it goes for him today.
Yep. And so this is their 2 deep on offense. I think that they've got, I mean, to me, it's pretty much like prototype size, I would say, everywhere. They got some big old running backs. So number 4, who was talking all the trash, and then number 0. And they use 0 as more of like, they love to use him on 3rd and short, fullback dive. I mean, you can tell because he's offset. There's a lot of, that's one of the things, Pete, that I will say, is that they have a lot of tells. There's a lot of things that you can pick up on. Okay, this is what's coming, because it's not I would say that their playbook probably isn't huge. It's just that like the plays that they have, it's like if you take, hey, these are all of our best plays and put it inside of like one playbook, that's kind of like what they have. So they have really good plays, really, really good scheme. Players who can execute well. Their offensive line, I think, is good. It's a lot better than it was last season. We talked about Coach Pittman. That's what he did. He was an offensive line coach. So while he was the head coach of the team, of course, whoever his offensive line coach is going to be, he's going to like do what Coach Pittman wanted him to. And I think that Coach Pittman is still the best offensive line coach in the entire country. So most of these guys, they trained under him. They've got some tight ends who can make things happen. Their wide receivers. That's the one part, P, of their team that I would say isn't better than last year's. Everything else I'd say is better than last season. And that just from a talent standpoint. But their scheme is very friendly to their wide receivers. And they still have guys there. So let me get to some of these chats, P. And if you have anything that you want to add to this, you can go on ahead and add it.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm ready to get to that film room.
I'm going to get to this one right here from Chatsworth. Thank you for joining us, bro. From Ben saying that a healthy defensive line will be key. Yeah, 1,000%. Like we need for guys to be able to play for the full 60 minutes with a lot more steam than they have been previously. But I think that we talked about Bryson Easton earlier. I mean, for him, having to play as many snaps as he's had to play, and now he won't have to play as many. Man, he's going to be super fresh, so he should have a great game. And from our dog, 10 Vols 1084 saying Tennessee 49, Arkansas 20. Love that. Make a Me Mug is saying set the edge. Ball game for the most part, quarterback scrambles and running backs off tackle for sure, especially within their option game. This one from Matt SS sent the Vols with a hard fall dub today, and that he thinks it's going to be closer than expected. I could see that happening too. All right. Okay, so this one's from Billy saying that Connie was carted off the field in the previous game. I don't know how I missed that, but I did. So this one is saying that I used to do a lot of film stuff. Okay, cool. And Chatsworth, he's saying that earlier we talked about Joey should probably run it more today, and he's asking, is Bobby P the type of coach that would try to injure the opposite quarterback? And honest, straight question. Yeah, I mean, I think that he probably is, and I'm gonna tell you, I think that that's every single, like nobody's gonna come out and say that. And I think that some people like Kirby Smart, I can tell you for sure, one of his main goals is to injure people. Like, okay, he's a dirty coach. So yeah, I mean, I think that you got to kind of think about that in every single game. But P, can you really worry about it though?
No, yeah, go out there and play. I'm gonna go out there and play ball, man. I mean, heck, you go into every game expecting guys try to take you out.
Yeah.
I mean, and especially if you're that dude, you fully expecting, hey, every shot they can get on me, they're gonna try to take it. But if you're that type of guy, just like we were talking about that 4th and long, whatever that podcast is with us Arkansas guys, that tight end's talking about he got lit up by Dante Hightower going across the middle.
Yeah.
He got up, was like, that's soft. But he went back to the huddle and like he was hurting, but you never let these guys know that. Like you embrace any and all physicality and altercation you can out there in that field. So, I mean, heck, Joey, you take that as a badge of honor. Guys are coming for you. Go out there and freaking ball, baby.
Yeah. And that podcast is called 4th and 5. So if y'all want to watch what they have going on, obviously it's two guys who played at Arkansas. It's kind of similar to what we do here where they're breaking down film and all that. But it's from the Arkansas's mindset. If you want to watch that on game day, the one video, that one was really, really good. So this one is asking, wasn't Ty considered a 3-star? Yeah, and there's several players. I mean, Ma was a 3-star coming out of high school. He was a 3-star. I think it was a 3-star wideout or something. But yeah, I mean, those rankings, just like we said, take that stuff with a grain of salt, because there's no way that it's like thousands and thousands of players. There's no way that they can watch that much film to tell who's better all the time. All right, so this one from Ben is saying that Tennessee wins 42 and the Roasted Hogs 24. Love that. All right, so this is their 2 deep, right? We already talked about that. Let's move on to their key players. So we talked about Taylor Green. We're going to take a look at them. Their running backs, they have 2 good ones. We talked about them. At wide receiver, they've got some guys who can do some nice things. Tight end, they've got 2 good ones. To me, number 88, he's more of like that deep threat. He only has 6 catches, but all 6 of them, I mean, they run excellent routes. Like, they just do a lot of very, very good things. So let's go on ahead and jump into how Tennessee's defense has played so far. So this is us versus the read option. We're going to see a whole lot of that. And, I'm showing that the wide receiver can also run a route because Arkansas does that type of stuff. The number one thing is to keep them from getting to the edge, right? So can your defensive ends have an impact? Because that's the remake. You don't want to be slamming people after you make the stop because we don't need a free 15 yards. But also you have to do a good job within that box because it's a dive or it's something that's going to the outside. So there we do a good job. I'm just showing y'all some of the plays over the course of this year. The Tennessee's played it pretty well, but I mean, honestly speaking, we've played it poorly more than we've played it well. So just as far as the pass rush, they have a left guard. He struggles with if you try to overload his gaps there, right? So different stunts, different blitz packages. We're just showing y'all here that he's not picking it up well, and this is something that we need to try to pick on him. I think that whenever we're like running the blitz, running the games, try to target him. This is one where the linebacker is going to take a step back like they're dropping into pass coverage, and then comes through. There's nobody home, and now you're about to see Tennessee doing the exact same play. And Arion Carter, major problem. Watch what he does here. Boom. We actually close on this, and there's another play that we'll see where the other teams are closing versus Arkansas's offensive line. So it happens a lot. We can't put everything in here, but this is pretty consistent. That left guard, you can pick on him with these types of things. And as we touched on, with the defensive line, those stunts, it's going to be deadly, and whenever you're getting pressure coming up the middle, this is what happens, man. You can get turnovers that turns into touchdowns, and I think that's what Tennessee is really going to be looking for. So their right tackle, he also struggles with some things. Number one is going to be like bull rush, so power moves. Hasn't looked great versus that. Now you can see it here. This one's gonna look real bad, P. He's gonna look like he's about to fall down. Does a good job, but it's kind of like anchoring back down. But their offensive line, as a whole, is pretty good. So you can see. I think this might be. Is this Josh? No, this is Caleb Herring. You can see him showing some of that power. He's good with his bull rush, also good with his hands. And here, man, if you give that right tackle any type of wiggle, any sort of move, he's gonna get lost. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't do a good job versus that type of stuff. We have guys who can do that too. So here, I think this might be Joshua. Oh no, this is Tyree West. Boom, big guy, quick guy, twitchy guy. And for him to be able to do that, that was just insane. We also have guys. Here, first and foremost, he kind of struggles with people who can use their hands well. So that's something we talked about. But here, this is Joshua Joseph finally. So you're going to see him use his hands very well. Get to the edge, disengage. And it's something that we weren't doing a really good job of last season, which is why we weren't really closing on those sacks. But now we're seeing a lot more of that, which is why, I think we've seen so much pressure coming off of the edge. But like I said, man, throwing the stunts into it, we should be able to get home. I'm hoping several times in this game. And then here, showing you just more of those moves where you're using that twitch, using your hands, and then we can do it coming from both sides. So Leo and strong side in, and just watch either side, man, or pause it and go back and watch. Joshua Joseph is a problem, so is Tyree West. But yeah, and obviously that also turns into points. So this right here, y'all, this is like the big passing plays for Arkansas. This is how their passing tree looks. A lot of those passes goes to the middle of the defense. So I know that there's a lot of people that think, well, man, Tennessee's not good in the middle with our defense, but there's a lot of things we're about to show y'all here. And hopefully we can do a pretty good job of it. You can't stop all this stuff because they have different beaters for like different coverages and so on and so forth. But here, and I think I might have missed what that one was. But this is a post. Okay, so they love to run post, especially versus cover 2. So that's something that we have to watch out for. Do we want to try to run more cover 2? The first one was a seam. They set everything up off of the seam, and then they run the post. Then they run these digs. So the middle of our defense, safeties, linebackers, not so much corners. That's where most of the stress is going to be at coming up in a few short hours. And then also drags. So they'll run that coverage off vertically, have everybody playing way, way, way off. And then there's a drag underneath that's just kind of like that outlet, So they do a really good job from that standpoint, I think in manufacturing things down the field. So can we get it all picked up, P? Now, I know that you had some thoughts on the pressures.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think this is a team, they struggle with some of the blitz pickups. I mean, they struggle. You see there, we already talked about that we saw Aaron Carr do that same move, man. Kind of fake like you're going and then go, it's wide open. I think we need to get after these guys, man. The O-line's not picking it up. The backs, they're not picking it up. They're getting out of the backfield too early. And then I think even if you don't get home on these, Jalen Green is a different quarterback when he gets pressure. I mean, he's a different quarterback, but that was good coverage there. Nothing's open, but you're going to see on some of these plays, guys are open, but he can't even get to them because of the pressure. Like down here, this guy at the bottom in the slot, he's open. He can't even get there because of the pressure. He flushes him out. He's out of the pocket. He gets sacked. Now, maybe a potential issue, you'll see it again here. Screen pass, but the pressure gets there so quick, he has to make a really bad throw. And, or did he take a sack there? I can't even tell.
Yeah,
but listen,
sack.
Take a sack there. So that's what I'm saying. He's a different quarterback whenever the pressure gets to him. Now, he can hurt you, which is a little bit of the risk-reward deal with him. If you blitz and you're in your undisciplined, in your rush integrity, he can hurt you. He can escape the pocket. You vacate the middle. He can hit you up inside. Right here, you see the long speed, long strider. These 6'6" guys, if you've never chased one of them down, they're deceptively fast, okay? Like they're covering a lot of yards every single step. And that's obviously, it can create issues with your angles, which we know we've struggled with that all season long. But here you see it again. Guys are open. Like you talked about Bobby P and his offense. Listen, guys are open, and it's just a matter of them being able to actually hit those guys that are open. Like, can we continue to create enough pressure? And right there, I mean, that's just a bad throw. He gets pressure in his face and forces it into coverage, creates a turnover. That's the same thing here, right? We get the pressure coming from the outside. Now, first, he should have adjusted that because they had more guys blitzing than what they had to block it. But then he scrums out to his left, tries to make a play, throws it across his body, pick, in the end zone. That's what the two worst places to throw picks, in your end zone and then the other team's end zone. I mean, you can't do that. So, like I said, I think Taylor Green's a different quarterback whenever you can heat him up. But you have to be careful. Make sure that he can't escape the pocket. Make sure that you have a plan in place on guys to be able to maybe, come downhill and help contain if you got to get DBs involved, backers, whatever it is. Because like I said earlier, that's where he can hurt us the most. I'm most worried about him having a Nico type game where he goes out here and rushes for 170 yards, something like that. Like, as long as we can limit that from happening, and even just limit him from escaping the pocket and potentially finding guys down the field once plays break down, if we can limit those, I think their offense will struggle. Because I don't think they're going to run the ball that well either with David Hobbs coming back and some of the trash talking that the other guy was doing. I think we'll be ready for the run game. Can we limit Taylor Green creating on his own? That's going to determine the game for us.
Yeah, and I want to say that Taylor Green, his passer rating, just like regular passer rating, is like at a 98.9, but versus the pressure. So we talked, I think that was yesterday, we talked about him versus the blitz. It actually went up. But if it's just pure pressure, so what this tells me, P, is dial up blitzes, but it needs to be timely, it needs to be smart. But if you obviously, anytime that you can get the pressure without having the blitz, that's always better. But versus the blitz, his quarterback rating is at like a 34.7. So it drops significantly. And just to let y'all know where Joey is at I want to say it's a 107. It's either 104 or it's 107, just like regular stuff. But versus the pressure, it only drops down to like a 94.9. So he doesn't drop down too much, which is very, very positive for us. But yeah, I mean, excellent points. Having back Tennessee's defensive tackles, that should help out with those dive plays to stop the running back, because most of the time, whenever they are running stuff up the middle, off of the option, because most of their running plays comes from that option, it is going to be to their backs and not so much Taylor Green. So I think that we can kind of slow that down. Can our linebackers do a good job? Linebackers, defensive ends, safeties, star players, everybody else in keeping contained and not letting them break that and get to the outside. And then I've said it, P. I know that you're never really taught to do this, but I've said that if they want to go to the read option, whoever that defensive end is, just go hit the daggum quarterback. Just know the whole team knows on defense, right? And not that you're trying to injure him, but you are always trying to hurt somebody, right? Go smack him in the mouth as often as you possibly can and make him stop running at. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I would do, because then, everyone else, hey, we know that defensive ends are going to go, kill Taylor Green. Let's stop the inside stuff. You know what I mean? We don't have to even worry about that. So I think that maybe they can make it easier, but like I said, that's not necessarily what you're taught to do, Pete.
Oh, heck, I mean, I don't know. Because, see, I don't know. So I guess it's not a flag. For some reason, I thought it became a flag a few years back. Maybe it's not. But heck, I mean, even if it is a flag, go do it anyway, because why? Like I said, not trying to injure anybody, but hey, maybe you hurt him and he says, hey, coach, I don't play anymore today. Or at least you make him tell it more. Now, instead of him riding that thing and now he's quick, I don't got no more. You know what I mean? And now it makes it easy for everybody else. It's like I tell Kaysen sometimes, and not to, I don't want to, be politically incorrect or anything, but I try to tell them, hey, you got to be like a kamikaze out here sometimes. Like, you got to completely sell out, like freaking give yourself completely up for the betterment of the team sometimes. And as long as we got 11 guys willing to do that, I mean, heck, at the end of the day, win or lose, I can live with the result because they're playing football the right way.
Yeah, and then too, man, let me shout out to my nephews, right? So Case, he was player of the week last week in his league, and then obviously Bray, I think he scored a touchdown in every game so far this year outside of one. So doing a good job at Buford, both of those guys. So let's keep it going. I want to jump into the chat and chime in here. So this right here is funny. Hey, and look, I mean, you're perfectly welcome to do that, and appreciate you doing that. That's definitely dope. So this one is saying that the 85 Sugar Vols are being celebrated today in Neyland. Final score today, 35-7 in honor of the Sugar Vols. Hey, love that. Obviously, that was an excellent team, great team for our Vols. This one from Slick420 saying that on one of the Arkansas podcasts last night, they were saying that Tennessee fans put a Ryan Mallett jersey on a fake skeleton and posted on social media. And that, I mean, listen, I was a huge Ryan Mallett fan. Ryan Mallett fan. Like 6'7", I mean, could throw the football a mile. Like, I love stuff like that. I thought, he had that gutsiness to him. He was a baller. So obviously, I mean, that's in poor taste. I don't know the people who did it, but I have kind of like seen some things about it. If they might have done it without thinking, but once someone told them, I think that you probably should have taken that jersey off. That's just me. Things are never that serious. That's pretty dark. So that's just how I feel about it, P.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next one. So have I heard? Okay. Yeah. heard about, yeah, I mean, I guess it would be for their team. One of the things that I have said too previously, and I'm gonna get right back to this one, is that you really shouldn't need that type of stuff to get you fired up. You know, sometimes maybe some people do, but I just feel like you should wake up ready to go knock somebody out. Somebody wants to come inside of your stadium, or you're going to go play somebody at their stadium, whatever. Like you're playing a freaking borderline combat sport, right? Where it's very physical all the time. You know, it's a freaking grind. It's a battle every single play. You should not need any extra motivation. You just shouldn't need it. Like, I mean, you're playing for Tennessee. You got the power T on the side of your helmet. That should be enough. Or you're playing for Arkansas. Maybe they feel that same way. They should feel that same way. So yeah, I mean, but that is true. Obviously, that could be something that the players might get pissed off with. So this right here. Thank you so much for this super chat. This is from Will Holder saying Vols by 1 million, limit turnovers, and let's roll. And I know that I got to get back to one of the other chats. I'm going to come right back to that in just a second. Thank you so much for that. And the previous one, okay, this one's coming from G-Force saying that this feels like a 45-20 Vol win today. GBO, love that. Yeah, hopefully so. I think that's a pretty solid number. So P, yeah. I want to do you have any extra thoughts on Tennessee's defense versus their offense? Anything else that maybe stands out to you?
No, I mean, I think I pretty much said everything I need to say. D-line, get after them. You know, Tim Banks, dial up some blitzes, but like you said, be smart with it and be smart with how we do it. Don't let Taylor Green escape the pocket. And we know Bobby P is going to have some things drawn up. He's probably going to manufacture some points for these guys. Can we try to limit the big plays and, cause some turnovers, man. Get the ball back to our offense, put up points, and take these guys out of the game early. Don't let them hang around. Go ahead and put a 21 spot on them in the first quarter, and let's go ahead and freaking get a nice easy win today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, so I guess we can go on ahead and start getting into these picks because there's a lot of big games coming up today, P. We are going to be starting off with at noon, Ohio State versus Illinois. And the Buckeyes are favored by 15.5 points, and the over-under is 51.5. And the game is going to be in Champaign, Illinois. P, what do you think about this one?
Oh, yeah, I'll be 100% honest. I haven't watched a ton of the Big Ten, right? I've seen, I went on the film last couple of days and watched a few plays of Illinois. Seen a little bit of Ohio State. So listen, I'll tell you, I watched Illinois. I watched Illinois versus whoever they played, Indiana. I watched about 2 plays. I said, listen, neither one of these teams is going to beat Ohio State or Oregon today. I mean, this is a whole different league. It just goes to show how bad the Big Ten is. Illinois is a bad team, in my opinion. They ain't got no shot in this one. If they win this one, I mean, heck, it's going to take Ohio State beating themselves in a major way. I got Ohio State winning big in this one. Illinois is physically outmatched. The quarterback isn't that good. I mean, I don't like anything about those guys. I mean, I don't want to talk bad about them. I'm just saying they're not a very good team, in my opinion. I got Ohio State in this one.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't really watched either one of these teams play either. The Big Ten is a freaking joke. Oh my gosh, it's a joke. There are like 2 or 3 good teams, and everyone else is. I mean, and then there's maybe 2 or 3 kind of like average teams, and everybody else sucks. It's boring to watch. I think the broadcast. I don't like anything about that conference, so I don't even care, honestly speaking. I mean, I guess I'll go with the Buckeyes too, but I really wouldn't be surprised to see them go out there and daggum lose either. So now this is a game here, okay? This one matters. So Alabama, okay, going to Missouri. This game is also at noon. This is the one that I'm going to be watching because obviously Tennessee plays Bama next week. I'm not looking past Arkansas, but I am still a fan. While I'm waiting on Tennessee, I'm going to be watching this one. I'm going to be scouting, okay? So Bama is favored by 3.5, and the over-under is 51.5. P, I know that we've gone back and forth all week talking about this one, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, like you said, going back and forth. I think Missouri's a really good team, man. They got a really good defensive line. They play fast and hard on defense. Any other offense, they have a few decent little players. Obviously, the running back, Hardy, is a stud. The quarterback's been playing really well this season. So they have some pieces and some things that can cause some problems for Alabama. But looking at Alabama, I mean, obviously, a very talented team. I think they have more talent than Missouri. And obviously with the rankings for sure, but I mean, just eye test, I think Bama's guys are still better than Missouri's guys. Just looking at them, I think Bama's got enough up front on the defensive line and enough speed at backer that I think they can kind of limit some of that stretch stuff. Safeties getting involved and stuff like that. I think they can limit what Missouri likes to do and maybe force them to try to pass the ball a little bit more. And once that happens, I think that definitely favors Alabama. Very talented secondary and a couple guys off the edge that can get after the passer. Ty Simpson, he's playing really well right now. We said that after the Florida State game, hey, this is probably the best, this is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I know what the numbers look like in this game, but watch the film. I mean, you remember that throw he made? It was a throw. It was like a 50-yard out route or something right on the sideline. Like it was a toe tap on a rope. I said, this kid's a stud. Yeah. So, I mean, I really like what Bama's doing right now, getting Jam Miller back. And Kellen DeBoer, in my opinion, he tends to, with him, you got to worry more about the lesser teams. But a team that he feels like he has to get up for, I think he'll be ready. I got Alabama winning this one, probably by like two scores. I mean, like a 14-point game, I think, 17-point game, something like that. I think Bama wins this one pretty handily.
Yeah, so I haven't watched. I'm gonna say this first and foremost. This is a perfect game, I think, for Tennessee to be playing Bama next week, just because it's going to be a physical game. I think that Alabama's defense is like super soft. They've got a great running game, P. Like you just touched on, that running back. He's got a ton of broken tackles. He's got more than anybody else in this conference. He's a load. Whenever they got that stretch play, that outside zone stuff working, they are tough to deal with. But I don't like their passing scheme. Like they don't really throw the football down the field, which might actually play into their hand in this game. I think that they could find a way to win. And as much as I hate to, I don't hate to say it. I just think it might not be best for Tennessee playing Alabama next week. But I've got a feeling that Bama's actually going to end up losing this game. Like the closer that we're getting, P, and like I said, we've gone back and forth. I was talking to Tim about this. I was like, man, I think that Bama's going to end up killing them. But the closer that we're getting to it, the more I'm just like, man, Alabama is kind of soft. Like they are kind of soft. I got a feeling that they're going to end up losing. So that's my pick for that one. Florida State versus Pitt. We're not going to waste our time on that. Washington State versus Ole Miss. We're not going to waste our time on that either. But let's talk about Indiana versus Oregon. Okay, so the game is at Oregon. That's a tough place to play. Oregon's favored by 7.5. The over-under is 52.5. P, what are your thoughts here? It's number 7 Indiana versus number 3 Oregon. I think Indiana's. I think that they shouldn't be rated that high personally, but what are your thoughts, P?
It's kind of funny. I know a lot of you guys probably watch Josh Pate's show. He does the power rankings. Which power rankings, if you don't know, just basically who would be favored versus who on a neutral field, whatever. I find it very hard to believe that if Tennessee even went to Indiana to play, that Tennessee wouldn't still be favored. Like have these guys watched Indiana? Like, have they looked at their guys? I don't know what the numbers say, but these guys look like they're, D-line. These guys are 6'2.5", 475 pounds, D tackle. Like, dude. I'm sure they play hard. They're a well-coached team and all that, but there's no way that they should be favored over Tennessee. No way that they can hang with Oregon, in my opinion, today. Every dog has his day. You seem like this game 100 times. Yeah, there's probably 20 wins or so for Indiana in there. That scenario could unfold today, and they could find a way to get the win against Oregon. I think Oregon's too good of a team. Dante Moore's playing really well. I know Indiana has a guy that says the best quarterback in the country. Listen, and I'll be honest with you. I've watched probably a grand total of 12 plays of Indiana's offense, something like that. I wasn't impressed in those 12 plays. He didn't pop off the tape to me. He looks slow and unathletic. If you can get pressure, he's not going to escape. He's taking a sack or he's throwing a pick. So give me Oregon in this one. I don't see an upset happening here.
Yeah. I haven't really watched a whole lot of Oregon play either, but I can tell you something, man. Tennessee matches up well versus the daggum Hoosiers. Very well. I would love to see that matchup. We match up perfectly. I think we'd have a field day. Like a big-time field day. That's a game, and I don't ever really say this. I think Tennessee can win that game by 30 or 40 points. I think it's going to be a, high-stepping, high-flying, people are dancing, fans, all of that. That's what I see happening if we were to play them. But, yeah, I guess I'm going to roll with Oregon. I think that it's going to be pretty close. I like this spread here. I think that that's pretty close. But with it being at Oregon, like I said, that's a tough place to play. So, maybe it could be a little bit over that. Now, this one's big, okay? At 3:30, we got Oklahoma versus Texas. And the game is, of course, it's in Dallas. But Texas is favored by only 1.5 points. All right, so the over-under 44.5. So they're seeing this as a low-scoring, grounded-out type of a game. Oklahoma's quarterback, I think he's going to play. He just had surgery on his thumb, P. What was that, 2 or 3 weeks ago? We were talking about that on like Thursday night, right? Just crazy. Like, why would you? And that's going to be positive for Tennessee, because if he aggravates that, okay, like they got Tennessee in the next 3 weeks or something. Dude, I mean, you might be setting yourself back for the rest of the year to try to go win one ball game. I think it's dumb, but I mean, I'm happy that they're doing it. So, P, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is going to be, I think it's going to be a good game, obviously. I mean, this is a big time rivalry. And this is one of those type of rivalries where you throw everything out the window. The records, who's playing, who's not playing. You really throw all that out the window. I know we like to look at that stuff. I think Mateer being in here, we'll see his health and all that. But if he's obviously 100%, I mean, yeah, that definitely helps Oklahoma. But I think even if he is in this game at 100%, I just got a feeling that Texas is going to bounce back from last week's loss against Florida. I don't see them having their third loss. Where we at? First week of October, second week of October. I think that they find a way to get the win today. And Oklahoma takes their first L. Listen, love Oklahoma's defense. That D line is, I mean, they got guys. They play hard. Secondary linebackers are athletic. Really good looking team. They struggle to run the ball. Both these teams really haven't run the ball well this season. I think Arch maybe found some strides last week against Florida. I know, they lost, but I think he actually played a pretty decent game. I think they'll have some things going for them this week. I think Texas scores enough points. I got Texas winning this one in a close one, but I got Texas finding a way to pull this one out.
Yes, sir. I have Texas winning too. Like, it's funny watching Texas play because their offensive struggles, I think a lot of it is from the play calling. It's probably some things with the scheme. I don't think that it's as much of Arch as most people probably think. Now, could Arch maybe do some different things? Their system is pro style, so you're asked to stand inside of the pocket. Whereas the issues that Tennessee's had, you're asked to, hey, you look at your one read, then we want you running. So it's really like their situation's even worse. But yeah, I mean, maybe if they just tweak a couple things, and I also think that their offensive line they look really bad. I mean, really bad. So, I mean, I don't know. Really, everything tells me that I probably should be picking Oklahoma, but I'm going to pick Texas too. I don't know why. It's simply like in this matchup, it seems like the team that shouldn't win does win, but it's going to be a really, really good game. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm not going to be able to watch it all, obviously, because Tennessee's going to be playing, but yeah, that one should be pretty fun. All right, so Georgia Tech versus Vatech. NC State, Notre Dame, Iowa State, Colorado. Let's skip Tennessee for now. Let's get into, I want to talk about maybe 2 more games here, P. Let's talk about Florida versus Texas A&M. And the game's going to be in College Station. A&M's favored by 7.5 points. The over-under is 47.5. So they think it's going to be a lower scoring game. But what do you got here? Because like we just talked about how the Texas-Florida game, this one's going to be pretty interesting. Of course, A&M just played Mississippi State last week. What are you thinking here?
Man, A&M's a really good looking team. If you haven't watched them, I don't know, maybe it's their jerseys or something. When they played Mississippi State, I think it was, they had on the black jerseys. Maybe that's what it was. But I mean, they look very impressive on film. I mean, everyone talks about Miami and how good they look. To me, A&M on film, they almost look just as good. I mean, they got guys, prototypical, every single position. For me, their quarterback is, I mean, he's a guy similar to what I've seen on film from Taylor Green. Like he'll miss guys that are open. He'll kind of double clutch on the guy that's already open and end up throwing it late. Like he does some things that can cause him some problems today against a Florida defensive line. I think can get after him, can heat him up, can cause some pressure. And I think they might get a few turnovers. You look at Florida. I mean, DJ Lagway, he hasn't been great all season long, right? I mean, he's really been all over the place. He had a good game last week. But even in that game, he had to throw it into triple coverage down the field. Ended up being incomplete, but I mean, like he's still doing some things that really would scare you if you're a Florida fan. But this one, man, I have no idea. I mean, I've gone back and forth on this one. It could go either way. I'm gonna lean A&M just because it's in College Station, and I just don't see Florida getting a second big win like that in a row over a team that people aren't expecting them to beat. Right? I got to lean A&M. But I don't know, at the same time, I think the better quarterback is still DJ Lagway. So part of me wants to lean Florida. I'm just going to go up the home field. And with the very impressive team I've seen, I got A&M winning this one in a really, really close.
Yeah, I'm going to go Florida. And I hate to say it, I think that they're about to go on a little – they've got a tough stretch. But I think that they're going to win this game. I think that their defense matches up well versus versus what like Reed does. He's much more of like a mobile quarterback, like the read option stuff. He's not that great of a passer. I can see him, man. I think he might throw 2, maybe even 3 picks in this game. I think he's gonna have trouble. Like I think he's gonna be getting sacked. And then I think that you can run at. I think that you can run at that defense for the Aggies. You know, I think that Florida, they have a really good offensive line. The running game's starting to get picked up, and I think that just operating off of like the play action stuff, people are going to be open down the field. They got real dudes on the outside. I mean, Florida's a really dangerous and really scary team right now. So, but yeah, I have them winning, unfortunately. All right, so let's just talk about what else we got. Oh man, we still got a few. All right, so let's try to fly through P, and let's just get through Georgia. Then we're going to do South Carolina. Then let's do Tennessee. So Georgia, this game's going to be at Auburn, right? So Georgia versus Auburn. The game is at 7:30. Georgia's only favored by 4.5 points. The over/under is 46.5.
I mean, listen, I went and watched a little bit of Auburn film last night. I mean, I just do not like their offense. The quarterback does not wow you. I mean, I just wasn't impressed with really anything else. Even Cam Coleman, the receiver, didn't really wow me. I mean, I wasn't wowed by the defense either. I know they've been holding teams to very little points. Georgia's not a team that wows me either, but I think they're way more talented than Auburn. I mean, it just looks that way. For me, it's hard for me to find any reason why Auburn wins this game. I'll tell you what, if you ever see me betting on Georgia to win, just know, hey, that's AI. I've kidnapped, call 911, because I never betting on those guys, picking those guys. I got Auburn, find a way to get it done in Jordan Hare. Give me the Auburn Tigers in this one.
Yeah, I think that Georgia, they struggle versus the mobile quarterbacks. They're not the best team at stopping the run. And I just think that Auburn's system, it's perfect to go beat Georgia. I think that also, if you're looking at like Georgia's, like their offensive style, it's very basic. It's very much, hey, we're better than you, and everyone knows exactly what we're doing on every single play. But can you stop it? I think that Auburn matches up well enough that they can stop it. Like their secondary is like we talk about Tennessee secondary, especially with our corners. Auburn's corners, and you know, I did a video on our other channel, kind of like breaking it down. Auburn's corners, from like a number standpoint, they look like they should be the best in the conference. So one-on-one, I think that they'll be fine there. Can they come up, make the tackle, so on and so forth? I have Auburn winning it. I have them winning by, I'm gonna call it 10 points. You know, I have this one being one where Georgia just looks terrible, like they should. So last one that we'll talk about, then we'll go on ahead and get to Tennessee. Man, it's jam-packed loaded. There's a whole bunch of really good games today. But we'll talk about South Carolina down in Death Valley versus LSU at 7:45. LSU's favored by 9.5 points, and the over/under is 43.5 P. I mean, you know, what do you think is going to happen here?
Call me crazy. Give me freaking South Carolina. You know, I think give me freaking South Carolina. I think we're going to have at least one major upset today. This would be the one. I think LSU. I mean, they're a fraudulent team. I mean, because their offense, anytime a team's offense is so pedestrian, they could lose any game. I mean, they could lose. I mean, heck, if Lenore Sellers can make some magic, get some points, I think if South Carolina can somehow find a way to get 24 points in this game, I think they got a real shot to win. So give me Carolina and the major. And you know, Beamer's good for at least one major one per year. Give me this one today.
You know what? I'm gonna just go with it too, just because. And if this happens, do they fire less? Like, do they just go ahead and just say, you know what? Why don't you just kick rocks, dude? Because you obviously don't know how to damn coach. I don't know what's taking him like so long to see that, but obviously he's not a very good coach. But yeah, I can see it happening. It's just weird going down there and playing at night. It is very, very tough to win. But I'm just gonna take I'm gonna take South Carolina too. All right, so let's come on back up, man. Let's talk about this game, the only one that really matters today. Tennessee, okay, obviously hosting Arkansas at 4:15, and Tennessee right now is favored by 9.5. The over/under 67.5. So they think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. They think that this team's going to come inside Neyland P and put up a whole bunch of points. Okay, you know, I don't know how I feel about that, but tell me why you got Tennessee winning this one.
I mean, I think we're the better team. I mean, you know, not just from a roster perspective, but just a better team. I think our guys are closer. We're a much more cohesive unit. We've had a lot more, whatever the word is, you know, consistency as far as who's been out there. You know, our guys know how to play together. I mean, I think Heupel's ready for this one. The team's ready for this one. We lost these guys last year. Now they're coming into our place, a team that, you know, we should beat these guys last year. And that's the thing too. It's the same offense. It may be a little different, right? Obviously, new year, and now Bobby P's the guy. It's the same offense last year that we held to 19 points, whatever it was, and that was with our offense couldn't do anything. We couldn't sustain drives. Our defense was on the field for 4 quarters, pretty much. Now I know our defense was more talented last year than it is this year, but I mean, still, I think that we're going to limit these guys. I mean, I think we keep them below 21 points. I do. I mean, and that's including garbage time. I think we keep them below 21 points, and I think we find a way to put up. I mean, pretty much, I think we'll be able to call our number. I do. I think you call your number, Coach. How many you want today? Give me 52. Well, I got the balls 52-20. We win this one by 30 points.
Wow, that's huge. That is huge. Love that. Yeah, I think that this is a game that Tennessee's going to lean on our running backs. Okay. Like Starr, Thomas, Bishop, I think that they're going to play very, very well. I think that we can obviously pass the football. We can throw it down the field. So maybe don't put up as many points and maybe trying to shorten this game up some. I think that our defense is going to be ready. I think that they have heard all the chatter. Like we talked about for the Arkansas defense, a lot can change if you got that bye week. If you make a couple of tweaks. It's the same thing for Tennessee's defense, especially getting back so many veteran players. And then the young guys who have played so much so far, they're now kind of veterans, right? I think that Pete, as a freshman or like as a young player, you go out there, you're playing. Once that first bye hits, to me, this seems like the game slowed down so much more because you can watch more ball. You're kind of picking up, like, as you're watching, like, oh, okay, this is what this team is running, right? Or, hey, they should have done this. I don't know how to say it, but it just feels like everything slows down. So I think that our young guys play even better. Guys are going to be a lot more fresh. And I think that we're going to have a really good game plan dialed up. I know that Arkansas's offensive line has looked really strong pass blocking so far this year, run blocking too. But I think that we're going to make them look kind of average. I think that this is going to be a game where people might not be as much of like the national media members, but guys like Cube, guys who know ball, they'll say, man, this Tennessee team is, this is serious. I think that our linebackers take that step forward. I think that our safeties and star players stop blowing coverages, start making tackles. I think that we catch the damn football. I hope that we don't ever have to kick any field goals unless it's just extra points. But I even think that if we have to do it, I might have a little bit of confidence that we'll actually be able to make those kicks. So I have Tennessee, P. I have us winning this one. I'm going to go 45-27. 45-27. And again, I think a little bit lower, that 50 number is about where I was at. But just because I think we're going to lean on that running game more, probably run for over 200 yards maybe. I think that that's how things are going to end up playing out. Let me get to these last few chats.
The only thing that scares me is I wish we had our clip from last year when we predicted this game because I feel like I might have said the same exact score last year and went out there and blew it. So hopefully it's not a repeat. But I know I was very confident last year too. We ended up blowing it, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, well, hey, man, you know what? Last year, the game was in Fayetteville, and this is something that we haven't even talked about today, but I do want to finish it off right here just for everybody, okay? Understand, we were coming off of that bye. All right, number 4 team in the country. We had a lot of people banged up. The offensive line was banged up. It was out of shape. Lance Hurd came back. He's in way better shape now. Just looks like a totally different player. John Campbell, he was banged up. Offensive line just wasn't as good, not nearly as good as it is right now. And then also with the scheme, our scheme passing the football, we couldn't do anything down the damn field. It was like a miracle if we could operate down the field. So you're standing back, looking at a field where everyone's covered up, and you're trying to make something happen. You just can't do it. We did a pretty good job of running the ball. That was, D. Sam, he had a really, really good game. Bishop did too. I think that previously I might have said that Peyton Lewis had a good game versus Arkansas. I don't think that he had any carries in that game. But either way, it's a totally different matchup. This game is inside of Neyland. So whenever our offense is out there, it should be cricket, should be quiet. Okay? But whenever their offense is out there, they ain't seen a stadium that can get as loud as Neyland can. They ain't seen it. All right, so that's going to be and plus with all the, all the stuff, all the trash that they've been talking. I think that we're going to be fired up. I think that it's just a different situation, P. So let me get to these last few chats, and then I'm going to go ahead and close it down. So from Carlos, saying the special teams needs to produce and tackle. Yeah, so another really, really good point. Special teams does need to be a lot better. Let's just not do stupid stuff. Let's not give people short fields. Let's catch the ball, okay, and let's just stay out of our own freaking way, and we should be fine. We should be perfectly fine. All right, so last one. This one's from Billy Golden saying, go Vols, love the show. Thank you so much for that, Billy, and we will end it on that. So we will be back, obviously, post-game with our thoughts, and it should be a really good Saturday. Hope that y'all have a great time. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll be talking to y'all a little bit later on. Thanks. Peace.